My name is Julius Tikkanen, and I'm responsible at Teleste for the video headend products. And today the story is about broadcast TV and what we can do with that one. Why we still talk about broadcast TV and what options we have from the cable operator side to deliver that. This is now showing that why we still need to have that one on the network. And one of the reasons is that, yes, we all talk about streaming TV, and we want to watch HBO, Netflix, and those different services. But at the same time, we also still want to consume that normal TV. So it's like a combination that we want to watch normal TV, plus also watch some streaming services. So that is still keeping it alive. Then all the TVs and set-top boxes, those are not yet IP-based boxes. So we need to have some method to deliver that normal TV to the second and third TVs at the homes. Then also this competitive edge. So if we want to please all the consumers at homes, it might be still valid to also provide broadcast TV to keep them as well happy. And then regulation. It is, at least in many countries, still mandatory that you need to provide certain TV channels to all of the homes in order to be kind of providing these regulative TV services in all of the circumstances. And then if you have been developing, maintaining your networks for a long time, it is quite easy way to still keep getting revenue out of those ones. So those are the, at least for me, very valid reasons why you still need to deliver broadcast TV. We can see different ways on how to deliver those to the homes. And this is looking from one angle. Now we are talking about that, how to convert IP streams to RF signals, either close to the home or very far away from the home. And the traditional way has been the left one. So it is a professional headend device. That's a picture of our headend. So it's a Luminato. There are some benefits on that one. And this is just now showing that it fits from small to big networks. So it can be like a device in super headend, in these master headends, or it can go to further on these smaller cities also deployed. And it has some benefits which has been developed during the last 10 or 15 years, and it fits to that purpose very well. But nowadays, like today earlier, it has been also said that there are other ways to deliver broadcast TV to home. And then we have the second one, and that's the remote PHY device, RPD. It can provide broadband to every household, but it also can provide TV, broadcast TV, to those houses by having a different kind of input type for the TV channels compared to the normal headend on the left side. It has some small variations, what it requires and how to install that one. Those are just tiny things which may have impact or might not have impact to how you want to design your architecture of the network. Right one here, it's the smaller headend. It looks totally different from any other headend, at least what I have seen so far. And that is what we call as a mini EdgeCam device. It's a tiny box that can do what the left professional headend can do, but in smaller footprint and with limited features. And that allows us several new things to what we can have for the deployments, and I will talk about that a bit later. All right, a couple of slides next about this Luminato 4X4 and what are the use cases, the benefits if you want to use that one for the EdgeCam installations, meaning on how to convert IP broadcast TV signals into RF in smaller, bigger networks. And first some introduction about this global EdgeCam market or the footprint. And this is what we have been doing EdgeCams for maybe 15, 20 years now. So we have some kind of knowledge what is happening there and what has been ongoing for years. And that market is quite old. There are a lot of legacy devices on the field. And most of those has been installed a long time ago, meaning 10 to 15 years ago. And those are still running there. And this is now listing what kind of devices there has been sold, deployed earlier. One of the most popular ones has been Synamedia or Cisco RF Gateway 1. That seems to be very widely deployed in different countries, like also Harmonic, CommScope, MediaKind, also our own earlier head-end device, Luminato Generation 1 or the classic Luminato, that was also sold a lot to have these EdgeCam installations. So we know that the world is full of these devices, and those have been installed roughly 10 to 12 years ago. So it is very old deployment base now currently. And most of those are end of sale, also end of support, end of whatever you can imagine. So those are still running there, some of them. And now the question is that, what do you want to do next? Do you want to go all IP or all in and see that, okay, it's all streaming services, let's focus to that one. That's one possibility. Or do you want to focus that I still need to have these broadcast TV services running, let's say, 7 to 15 years? So then it might be that you need to do something now or in a couple of years, and what can you do then? And would be the options, basically. This is now listing about our device, that what it can do, and what are the key parameters. And I was first having a slide about that, what is Luminato as a specification. This list is now things which are relevant if you want to do swapping current EdgeCam device, like from Cisco RF Gateway to Luminato. And we have been changing hundreds of those in different countries, from Europe to outside of Europe. So we have a quite good understanding that what the customers are testing, evaluating, and checking that does it apply to my environment. Can I basically drag and drop the device, Luminato, and take away the RF Gateway 1. And these are the features what normally are being tested when they are testing that can I use that device. Because the input is the same, output has to be the same. And on the middle, you need to have something that does the same tricks as before, but maybe just as a new device. And here you can see that, let's take 1+1. That seems to be that all the majority of EdgeCam installations are 1+1 configuration, because they are normally like big cities behind the installation. And then also the no need for external RF combiners. If you look more closely on how RF gateways have been installed, there's separate RF combiners, there's a separate management system that will then try to understand that which device is active and which one is passive. And now when we combine Luminatos together, we just put two devices without anything else, and that will do the same story. So there are many small details what we have now understood, and then implemented those into Luminato so that you can install that to replace that list what I was showing earlier of legacy EdgeCam devices. And yeah, the rest one as well. Power consumption, small but getting more important nowadays. What's the foundation of this device? Today was a lot of discussion about software, and you can install it to any place and just put virtual machines up and down. It would be also possible maybe here, but we still need to have that RF output. So you cannot virtualize that one. And as long as we cannot do that one, why not to use a device that is designed for this use case? Designed to do scrambling, multiplexing, all the nice things that have been ongoing or stable in broadcast TV environment compared to OTT or streaming, which is still not stabilized, at least from my point of view. So that's the module that is doing all the nice stuff, the cool stuff for that delivery. So it takes in IP input, puts RF out for your network. And all your channels basically are then coming out from that small connector over there. That's where all your TV channels are located to your complete network. And from one device we can have 32 frequencies, meaning multiplexes, CAM outputs. And if that is not enough, then we combine two of these. And then it is 64, basically, what you can feed from two modules. And you can put up to 6, so it is more than enough. Then you can also have IP output. IP output, it can be handy if you put this to your central location and there do all the important stuff and then just feed ready-made MPTSs to all your cities across your network. We also studied that the more you deploy these ones, the more important it comes that how you control your whole network topology, all the devices on the field. And for that purpose, we have this Catvisor Argus, and there's a special plugin for that one, which then allows you to control all your hidden devices under the same umbrella. So it's a centralized management tool where you can collect the information. You can install your new software to that one. It comes very handy when you have hundreds of devices. Our biggest installation, what we have been doing so far is around 350 devices under one customer. And we were upgrading the whole network from legacy Edgecom devices into new ones. And based on that, when it was scaling up from 100 to 200, 300, and then beyond, there was some more and more need that we need to control that somehow wisely, all the devices on the field. And that was the outcome that, okay, why don't we use this tool to control those and the key things what are relevant for your daily operations. And then you can use this. This is tiny thing, but I'm just so happy about this one. The ones that use these kind of devices, when you have a problem, then you always say that, can you please send me your tech file from the device so that we can see what was happening wrong. Something collapsed or something. And then you start to read that kind of file that is thousands and thousands of rows of information, and you try to find something important. What went wrong there? And for that purpose, we thought, okay, everybody wants to have some data analyzing tools nowadays. It's very trendy word that let's use big data or AI or analyze whatever we can. And this is our way to say that, yes, we also want to do something similar in smaller scale as well, but still. From that file, there's a web page where we just say that, okay, put that file into our tool and it will generate your output, which looks this one. And it also has some categories, which can be like this one. So by just analyzing that file, we can see that how long the device has been existing, what's the uptime of the device, what has been the biggest amount of failures. And here we can see that, okay, this has been the most seen error during the next 20 days. So if we want to investigate something, that's a good starting point. Why is this happening so often? Why it's happening this time of the day? That information is here in this file, but it's a bit nasty. It takes a lot of time to read that file. So this is something that was done together with our support guys, because they also want to have the fastest way to solve some problems. Let's not read the file, let's give some tool and to analyze it. And this is something that we are now doing, that, okay, let's try to see what we can understand from a file itself. There was a discussion about DA today and how to combine that with the video. And this is now showing the different migration path from the old world to the new world. And here we can see that the starting point was that there's a traditional head end, and then there is a RF delivery from one city to whole city area basically, and that's all. And then the second generation was that, okay, we have a main head end, and then we have edgecoms, meaning local head ends, regional head ends, doing their IP to RF conversion. And I think that we are still here, maybe not here anymore. Now we have been today talking about this video engine, video core, and then that is discussing to RPD, and then that RPD is doing the IP to RF conversion. That's now happening for broadcast video as well. Eventually we will at some point go to this, that, okay, RPD can also be providing the OTT content to consumer, but that's just broadband connection. This is talking about broadcast only. So if we want to do this video engine with the core, then we have RPD here. So how do we combine Lumina to the same story? What can we do for that purpose? And for that one, we have this the same module, what I was showing earlier, this DenseCam, this EdgeCam module. That has this IP output that can be used for normal multicast network creating MPDSs. But then we also thought that, okay, why not to make it a bit more fancy and also include this video engine, meaning that we can do this DEPI tunneling on the same module where we also do this RF conversion, which allows us to use the same module for all the different use cases. And in this case, the same, from here we can have RF output for the local area or for some measuring device. But we can also, from the chassis itself, have DEPI encapsulated broadcast video content for all of the RPDs. And then that is already multiplexed, scrambled, ready to be received by all of the RPDs behind this device on this SYN network. So it kind of expands the possibilities from EdgeCam use case to IP-based video engine for RPD installations. In DA world, then we also need to do something else differently. It was easier when we were having these kind of EdgeCam installations. Just put the multicast there and it will do the conversion and that's all. Now when we go towards the DA, we also need to configure the RPD. It's very nice device for broadband delivery. But when we need to do this broadcast video, we also need to tell that RPD that what are the frequencies for broadcast video and what are the symbol rates modulations and which are the multicast encapsulated on DEPI that I need to listen on that RPD. So there has to be some small box or some software piece or something somewhere that will tell all of the RPDs that way. Those frequencies, those TV channels, and just put it out. And for that purpose, we have this video core that is doing that. And that's integrated together with the video engine, so it's kind of very easy to configure for delivery of that configuration to RPDs. Then the last story, it's about this small box that looks like amplifier, but it's not. That's the mini EdgeCam device. So let's see. This is actually the story behind this box, is that we had a customer who was saying that it would be so cool if I could do smaller installations to provide broadcast TV, which doesn't require heavy investments. That would be maybe even MDUs, like these tall houses or row house, something similar. And if I could convert my IP signals into RF close to that premise, or if I would be able to get rid of or stop deploying RF overlay, because if the only use case for that would be that I want to provide broadcast TV in some region, can I do it in some other way? And that is why this box was developed, basically. Cost-effective solution. How to get to a certain price point per household that you can go a bit smaller places so that you don't need to count that, okay, it has to be like 2,000 houses connected behind the device in order to be like successful. It's not needed anymore. You can deploy this very close to the end customer and still make it like that. Okay, now you can also provide broadcast TV in areas where you not have been present earlier. EDFA cascades, RF overlay. It gets a bit, okay, I don't know, IP sounds better nowadays. So let's use IP where we can. And we can go longer distances. We can even go not in our own IP core network and then provide IP streams to other parts of Finland, for instance, and then convert that to RF closer to the end customer. And then we have been now talking to several customers for this device, and one of the new customer segment for us at least has been fiber operators, companies who are providing broadband over fiber in different PON architectures. And they want to say that, okay, we are now providing broadband connection to you, FTTX or whatever. And it would be very important to have also broadcast TV. So they can deploy this next to their PON architecture and then have also broadcast TV services provided. And the last one, it's also a use case. You can use RPDs to provide broadcast TV even alone, but then you need to also have video cores, the whole CCAP architecture in some format or another in place to use RPD for broadcast TV. But with this one, you can just say that, okay, let's put it like a normal EdgeCam device and use the same sources what we use in bigger cities. It works. This is just to make it more practical. How does it look when you go away from your RF overlay towards IP centralized delivery of TV signals and then just remove it? You don't need it. It's IP between the main headend and then the MDU in this case. It's MDU just as example basically. That's not needed. You don't need to deploy that anymore. If that was the reason to deliver broadcast TV into different cities, into different areas of the cities, just put the IP connectivity between and then convert it and place that to the bottom floor of your building and have broadcast TV connected. What's the key parameters? Okay, I can just go briefly through. That is based on the Luminato what we currently use. So one cool thing is that there's a same software, same module inside what we use in 4x4. So that has been now running for years in all kind of installations. So whatever is inside is used by big operators, is used by these 350 headend installations, is used by this small box as well. It really works. And 10 gigabit input, more than enough. You can get combined management and video on the same 10 gigabit port and then just put their 10 gigabit here, payload and management. Or if you want to have separate management, it's also available here. There's USB for the local connection if you want to do something when you go to install that device. It's a CLI if you want to do some local management configurations. Again, the same tool what was used earlier in this Luminato 4x4, this Arcus. You can configure those using that one. Because this is kind of designed that, okay, let's deploy this lot because it is going to closer to the end customer. So the number of the device is going to be higher. And there's also REST API. So if you want to connect that to some of your own system and use that one for configuration, why not? This is like IP in, RF out, and configuration, because this is not having all the features what Luminato 4x4 has. It's limited. Let's do just IP to RF conversion and all the signals are ready-made before those get to the device. So the configuration should be also easy. It is easy, and that is why we also made this kind of web page that put your parameters there and press button, it will export the configuration, what you can then download that device and even take it back here and do modifications and again export. That's all what you need to do in order to have that configuration ready for the device itself.
I have one question because in the last slide was it in the RF output is the blocks for the 4 channels?
Basically, you can select whatever frequencies you want to choose. There's 32 outputs, and you can enable or disable as many as you want to, but the symbol rate and the modulation is defined in the blocks of 4.